Hello and welcome to Amateur Hour, Episode 8. We're going
What
to be
up,
going
fam?
over...
Joey's excited to be here.
He's
Hell
ready
yeah.
to rock. We're going to be going over a little college football, primarily college basketball here, and then we'll break down the biggest meet in Would you say of the year, Joey, or is this the best meet in the last few years?
Based on the lineups, I'm going to go the biggest meet of the year. I think the last two that they've had have been bigger just because Iowa's lineups kind of young right now, but we can cover that in just a little bit.
Solid. Alrighty. Well, boys, anyone drinking anything, or are they being... I mean, I have a Coors Light, but otherwise I've been kind of lame the last few times when we've been talking about what we've been drinking.
Well, I'm pulling a Bryant and going to be lame.
There we go. I don't like that you're calling it pulling a Bryant. I'll just say that right now.
I only drink on Mondays, Bryant. Jeez.
I don't even have a water in front of me, so not even getting hydrated. So
damn, jeez.
Yeah.
It would be healthier for you to drink that beer to stay a little hydrated, man.
That's true. If you look at it that way.
I mean, it's just science, really. Joey, you drinking anything?
Diet Mountain Dew. That's about it.
Hell yeah. 0 calories, so that means it's healthy, right?
Hell yeah. It's good for you and good inside you. That's what she said?
Good and good for you.
Hell yeah. So we'll jump into it.
So I can only assume the wrestling meet you're talking about is Iowa State and Oklahoma tomorrow.
Well, yeah.
You are correct. You're very much correct.
I had to look that
I just saw that Casa Bonita was trending on Twitter, and the grand openings this weekend from the remodel.
Casa Bonita.
Yeah.
We're going to go see the divers and be excited like Cartman.
I am going to Colorado in a couple weeks. Shit. May have to go do that.
Oh.
Hell yeah.
Better get your reservation now, my friend.
Yeah. So Matt and Trey are the ones that are reopening it. They bought it.
Jesus.
Even better.
It'd be so cool to just be rich and just be able to, let's just grab a restaurant, and just you can just fucking throw money at it, and if you lose, whatever,
Someday when Paramount Plus pays our podcast $980 million, we can go do that.
There we go. One day, probably within the next 5 years, though. I can see it happening.
Yeah. One day. Hopefully that day is tomorrow.
Oh Jesus! Well, we'll hop into this thing so we can keep it a tight hour here. But trivia question I got for you: Kansas and Kentucky. Kansas is going to be playing at Kentucky this weekend on Saturday for the Big 12 SEC Challenge. Which school has won more head-to-head?
I'm saying Kansas.
Yeah, I'm going Big 12 homer here. Kansas.
Joey, what do you think?
Kentucky. I'll guess Kentucky.
Well, it is Kentucky. Do you know how many games Kentucky has won? Just shot in the dark.
How many have they played?
34.
I was going to say 30, but
18.
18? It is 24 games, 24 and 10 since 19. That's since 1950. So if there's been games before that, they don't count because they're shooting into peach baskets. So, but no, I don't know. I thought it would be a lot closer, to be honest, because I think we're thinking of Kansas in relative recency terms has been very dominant, and Kentucky just throughout history.
Well, I mean, we're not counting the games from whenever they invented the game, and we're obviously better than everybody else. Come on, jeez.
Naismith, we already have talked about this. Naismith's the only one with a losing record. That's when they're at their worst.
Yeah, and they want to be a blue blood. Come on.
That will still never. I will never invent a sport that I will not also be the best at, either best at or best coach at. That just makes you look bad, man.
So call me stupid because you can for many reasons, but this specific reason, I don't follow college basketball nearly as close as I do college football. Is it mostly just recency that Kansas has been good, or have they not been good throughout their entire history?
They've always been good.
Yeah. I just don't think
basketball.
I just don't think Kentucky elite level of good.
You say that, but I do believe it was last year when Kansas passed Kentucky in all-time wins.
Okay.
So I think they're still ahead of Kentucky's not been real great this year either.
Well, you're the Jayhawk expert.
Well,
You a couple Cyclones telling you who's good and who's not?
I'm not a stat guy. I was just turning to you there, Bryant. Sorry, my bad.
No, I don't know the history of college basketball. I didn't know if it was like only in the last since the turn of the century or what. But yeah, I guess I don't know too much.
And if KU keeps losing like this, Kentucky's going to catch them again in all-time wins.
Right.
That's 3 straight. Are you nervous, Clark?
Am I nervous? No. They started way better than I thought they would. So I think they're coming back down to earth here and have to see what happens.
This happens every year. They lose a couple games in a row at the beginning of the Big 12, and then all of a sudden they get good when they go into the tournament and make a deep run. It happens every year. We're in the cycle of losing those couple conference games. And
you know what that is,
thing
Trent?
on the cycle is get good.
You know what that is?
What is it?
Good coaching.
Dude, I agree. Bill Self gets them playing their best basketball when it counts the most. Like, I will give him that every freaking day.
That's when the checks start clearing extra hard.
That still does not distract from the fact that he has a toupee.
Yeah. And a fupa. Well, we'll jump into it. I only had a couple things kind of to follow up this first one from last week. Bethune-Cookman, we were talking about how Ed Reed was swearing him up and down, saying basically what's going on with this shit. Why is this place filthy? I don't even want to work here. They fired him. He didn't get to even coach a game or a practice. And this happened right before he had, I think it was 26 students that were set to come onto the campus to commit to him. I mean, what the fuck is Bethune-Cookman thinking here?
They can't have that. They can't have people knowing what's actually going on there.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, I think that's the only thing. You think you're going to do better than Ed Reed at that level? No. And I think they wanted Deion Sanders, but I think Deion had a little bit more of the, hey, let's kind of, keep it on the straight and narrow or the professional side. And Ed Reed he's always been that guy. He just calls it as he sees it,
Yeah.
And as a head football coach, and you're the one that's picking up the trash around campus, and your shit's not ready, I think he was 100% in the right there, and I think he dodged a bullet.
So now Bethune-Cookman fires him after they make this big name hire. Granted, he's never been a head coach before, but it's like, now who are they going to get? Who's going to want to coach there?
Yeah. Hey, that would be the first thing I'd ask in my interview is my fucking office cleaned out, or are we going to have another Ed Reed 2.0 here, So
yeah, do you think schools are going to keep jumping on these older post Hall of Fame type players just because of Deion's success? And do you think most of them are going to work out? I personally don't think that Ed Reed would be a very good coach. The way he was like a teammate and stuff and just super fucking passionate. I can see some kids nowadays not putting up with that type of style. I mean, you're getting the same type of thing coming out of like Miami because of Mario Cristobal and the way he coaches. I can only imagine Ed Reed yelling at a fucking kid, helmet or face to his helmet type of thing. So yeah. I don't know if these type of hires are going to keep working out. What are your thoughts?
So here's my thought on that, because I was kind of thinking about the same thing as you, but I think these smaller schools are going to continue to do, like they saw the success that Deion had, and they're going to try to catch this, flash in the pan. Hey, we're relevant for a couple of years. We're in the media for a couple of years. Our name's out there for a couple of years. Just like I said, just a flash in the pan. Now, Jackson State, probably a flash in the pan. They were good for a couple of years, and Deion's gone. We'll see what happens.
Right.
I think it's going to be more what players actually want to do it, because I think if like Larry Fitzgerald ever said, hey, I want to be a head coach somewhere, you'd be stupid not. If you're a Bethune-Cookman, you'd be stupid not to offer him that, the job, because what do you have to lose? You have one of the probably best players of the last 20 years in the NFL, one of the most professional players in the last 20 years. I think it's going to come down to, once you get to that level of how much football you've had in your life, I would think unless you're, unless you truly want to coach, you want to just get the hell out of it. Just relax now,
Yeah.
Right.
Now, Joe, you mentioned the passion, because of Ed Reed, our kid's gonna answer if he's yelling at you. One, I think if coming from Ed Reed, I think that would be extremely intimidating. Here's a Hall of Fame guy, the best of the best, that's yelling at you, you fucked up, and I think some people are going, well, Nick Saban does that. I just had to confirm it. Nick Saban's 5'6".
Right.
That is his height, 5'6". So when he's yelling and screaming at you, you're going, okay, end of the day, he's him. He can be the best coach of all time, 5'6", but I'm not worried he's gonna kick my ass. Ed Reed, I'd be worried he'd be kicking my ass if I did something wrong. He'd put the pads on and lay me out.
Yep. And I mean, on the same type of thing, like Dan Campbell in the NFL, man. If you fucking jumped off sides and he came at you face to face, fuck, I'd be shitting my pants already. And I'm a pretty big dude.
He bite your knees. Isn't that what he's known for?
Bite kneecaps.
Right. Bite kneecaps. But no, I thought that was interesting how we're like, God, I wonder how it was like the next day they hired him. So unfortunately, this is like 6 days old, that story. But only a couple other things from the SEC this week that I thought were relevant enough. Tennessee gave a raise to Josh Heupel, now making $9 million a year. So far, well, he's been at Tennessee 18-8, 11-2 in this obviously last great year. Won a lot of great games and just kind of who were their losses? Well, Georgia. One of their losses was Georgia, and the other one was a bowl-bound South Carolina with a backup, with them having a backup quarterback. I mean, I think it's worth it if you're Tennessee.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I like
they're
that.
Going to be good for a couple years to come here. So,
and then all LSU, another gigantic conspiracy. No, they actually just had an accounting error. They accidentally overpaid Brian Kelly by $1 million this last year. I don't know how you fuck up that much money over a period of like 6 months, but
just a small error.
Yeah.
I wish my employer would accidentally overpay me by $1 million.
I think it's funny because like they're not making him pay it back. They just said they'll have his money sorted out so that he doesn't so that it's all paid back. So he's gonna get less money by like I think it was like fall of 23. It's just like so he just gets to keep the $1 million early. I don't know. I just seemed a little fishy. I don't know. Maybe it was an unofficial wink wink nod deal that the SEC teams are used to doing. They got caught. I don't know. But.
Hey, IRS, you might want to double check Brian Kelly's W-2.
Yep. I was just going to say, I wonder how the IRS and the other SEC think about that.
But don't send somebody over $600 on Venmo.
Oh, yeah.
You're knocking at your door.
Right.
FBI, open up! Just fucking break in. Oh, Jesus.
Where's your receipts for that $600?
I'm a little worried. I didn't say I'm about ready to get my taxes going. Every single year, I overpay to make sure that I don't ever have to pay in. I get paid back every year, though. I'm just worried. Oh, something changed. You owe $1,000. God damn it, and just fuck everything up.
I've knocking on wood over here. I've never had to pay in.
Oh man, I did last year because of my Dogecoin capital gains, but other than that, I never have. But Brian, we need to keep track of that more next year when I'm asking you to place bets for me. I'm sure that's probably going to push you over the limit at some point.
Yeah, the $20 at a time every other week and shit. That might be, Joey. You're gonna have to like start divvying out your bookie on who's gonna book the bet for you.
Oh yeah. I tried to. Then like this last weekend with UFC 283, you both responded within 5 minutes of each other, so I just made both bets. So that doesn't work out either.
That was Glover, right? That was the one that fucked it up.
Yep. Yeah. Otherwise, I was gonna win $340 off $40, which would have been nice.
That's why don't ever get into gambling because you're never going to win in the long haul.
No,
sure you will.
Unless you listen to the Road to 272.
Oh damn!
Exactly.
That was hella good placement there, Trent.
Yes.
So.
A wager a day.
Are we still doing that? Where's that at, Trent? The wager a day.
Yeah, Still a thing, right? Wager a day.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the website was called Wager Day. I don't know.
It is. Yeah. Wager a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, audience, join it. I'm very enthused about said product.
We're talking about a wager a day. Why don't I go ahead and give out our socials so we can do that too? Because you can reach them at a wager a day on Twitter. And you can also reach us at Heartland Pulse on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Search for us on Facebook. Just search Pulse of the Heartland. And also the same on YouTube. And as you all know, if you're watching right now, we are live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays doing that. So yeah, come follow us. Yeah. And then comment because we love that.
We need to pump these fucking view numbers up, all right? We're about to get some coin. So everyone start sharing it. We're going to start getting mean with telling you to share this podcast. So
like and share.
Yeah.
Or else.
Yes.
All your devices, open up YouTube, let her run.
That's what we need to do. Is we need to make Clark record a metal version of what I just read.
I just had to clear my throat after that just little bit there, so I don't think I'm going to do very good.
You're going to have to do it in multiple recordings and mash them together. This wasn't done on one take.
No.
Oh, damn. Well, and also, if you don't start liking and sharing and getting these views up, we're just going to start calling you cucks, audience. So let's make sure we keep it going, all right?
Yeah. Stop teasing us and just do it.
Exactly. Quit edging us.
Go get more cucks to sit around and watch us.
So, we'll hop into some basketball here. We'll just do basically our teams. If anyone else wants to talk about any other basketball teams, we will bullshit about whoever, but these are the ones we like to talk about. Just in the top 25, number 5, Kansas State. Number 9, Kansas. Iowa State at number 12. And then Iowa has been kind of bouncing back, but right now they are not receiving any votes currently. So, Have they said anything, do you know, about when McCaffrey is coming back? I thought he was supposed to be, and he was still in street clothes tonight.
Yeah, last I heard, he was supposed to be back last Saturday. I was looking for him in their game against Ohio State and didn't see him. So, yeah, I don't think it did come to fruition yet. But yeah, the Hawks have lost 2 in a row. They're not looking great right now, but they're still 12-7.
Yeah, I'd say the only one that they had last week, because they had the postponement of the Northwestern game, was they lost, pretty handily by the score to Ohio State, 93-77. So I think that's still a quad 1 loss, so that shouldn't hurt you too much. But yeah, they're in a little bit of a skid. They're 8th place in the Big Ten right now.
Big Ten's the best conference in the nation, so I mean, the 8th place is still pretty damn good.
Oof, that's a stretch.
We're not going to stand for lying on this podcast. We 100% integrity here. Yeah.
Everything is factual that you hear on this podcast.
Yeah.
Integrity pod.
Exactly. I mean, factual. Like I said, I will call you a cuck if you don't start sharing this podcast. Listeners, so, facts.
Like and share.
Yeah, next week we'll be begging and pleading. We'll slowly do instead of the 5 stages of grief, we're just gonna the 5 stages of trying to turn to podcast views. So
like good cop, bad cop type deal. Yeah.
Good pod, bad pod.
Yeah.
Yep.
There we go. Just coming up in this next week between our amateur hours here, Iowa's going to play versus Rutgers on the 29th on Big Ten Network. And then they got their makeup game, the COVID game, basically, at home versus Northwestern on the 31st. Joe, you think they're going 2-0, or do you think the skid continues?
Rutgers looks pretty damn good. I really think Iowa still is a tournament team, and I think Rutgers is too. So I think they can go 2-0. I would probably pick a more 1-1. But I mean, Northwestern and Rutgers are both right up there. They're 2-3 in the Big Ten right now. So we'll see what happens. I'd like to think that they could beat both of them, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll find out. I would say 1-1 probably.
It's funny because we were kind of bullshitting when the game was canceled. We're saying just cancel the game, and I was just insistent. Iowa Northwestern isn't going to dictate anything tournament. I just saw Northwestern's a bubble team right now, so that game is actually kind of important for both teams. So.
Yep, they're 14-5, 3rd seed in the Big Ten, right behind Rutgers, who's the 2nd seed, and Purdue playing Michigan right now, who's the 4th seed.
Well, Purdue's playing Michigan right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Rutgers was playing Michigan. Sorry about that.
Oh, maybe I did, but I meant Purdue's playing Michigan.
I got you. Well, let's hop to the Cyclones real quick. You're tied for first place. Iowa State Cyclones in the Big 12, 15-4. We're tied with Kansas State and Texas right now. They had a little bit of a rough game on Saturday. They lost at Oklahoma State, which I don't know what it is about Stillwater. We just cannot win at Oklahoma State for some reason, but still a tight game. So I don't know, but I'm feeling all right with that loss there, with it only being 2 points, and we're just competing every game.
Yeah, a game they shouldn't have lost, being up. Like, I turned the game on and it was like 22-5.
Yeah,
and then they lost. Now the last, I don't know, 4 minutes, I think I texted you guys and said that it is a shit show between Iowa State's play and there was a couple of weird calls by the refs. It was just, the last 4 minutes was just weird. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Hey, make some free throws. That's all I got to say. You make some free throws, you win the game.
Yeah, when it's a 2-point game, as much as we want to complain about this one call here, one call there, it's like, when we had such a bad performance, it's like, yeah, but you only scored 59 points. How many games do you expect to win, though? You know, so
yeah.
Grill didn't have the greatest game, and I know that was the worry going into Tuesday. But
yeah, that's where he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my thing is, this is a thing on Twitter too with a lot of Iowa State fans. It's Iowa State misses the front end of every 1-1.
Mm-hmm. Every time.
It's disgusting.
Well, I very clearly do not have a basketball man's physique, but I will never get the free points. There's no one in front of you. I know it's a mental thing, but you'd think that doesn't because the distance doesn't change between middle school, high school, college, NBA, right? It's still the same measurements. I know 3-point line moves, but
I don't think so. See,
I didn't think so. I never get how free throws are the difficult part at times, or missing the critical ones. Like JJ Redick, when he was in college, he was hitting like 98% of his free throws. It felt like, that's what I expect just from every basketball player. Like, how do you not make those? But
yeah, when do we get like a Jake Sullivan type free throw shooter again that we haven't had in 20 years? It just never misses.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it was a bit of rough Saturday, but they had a hell of a bounce back, dude. It just felt like one of those games where we knew it was sold out. You knew Kansas State coming into town. Wildcats have been talking a lot of shit. They're feeling confident. It felt like kind of one of those trap games. We finally made it on television with ESPNU, and I mean, Kansas State. I hate that. I want to hate Kansas State, but that Jerome Tang, their coach, man, he just says the right things, and they're playing awesome basketball.
Yeah, Kansas State is legit. I wasn't sure. I really hadn't watched them this year. Excuse me. Really hadn't watched them this year until this game. They're good. They really are. Sorry, I think I called them Kansas State. Diet Kansas. But yeah, Diet Kansas has this little point guard. I think he's about 5'6", and the dude can shoot. And then
Powell, right?
What's his name?
Was it Powell?
Is it Noel?
Yeah, I'll check it. You keep going on.
But then they had this other guy that was they had like 2 sharpshooters on their teams, and I'm pretty sure those guys didn't miss, especially in the second half. They got hot, and I was like, "We're losing this game."
I mean, they kept saying, and this is Twitter. This is people chronically online. They're talking about how well Kansas State didn't play their best game. It's like, do you know how many threes you made in the second half? Like, every time we were finally stretching away, you're banging threes like none other. I'm trying to think. They were leading going into the second half, so I mean, I don't know where they're saying they
33-31 at a half.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just thought it was a great win. That is, let me get the stats in front of me because I believe that's our third top 7 win of the year, and that is our third top 10 win of the year, 5th top 25 win of the year.
Yeah, and like I said, Kansas State, they're legit. They're good. They really are. I mean, when we go down to Bramlage, I think that I honestly think we'll probably get beat down there. It's a tough place to play.
Dude, it's not like football where it's like you have to win the one game you're playing. Like, in especially not only just Big 12 conference, it's like unless you are the elite Purdue's, or the top Houston, you're going to lose some games on the road. And losing at Kansas State is not going to be a bad one. So I expect to give them everything. But this is the team where we've talked about. I'm 100% confident every game we go into versus Kansas versus whoever that. The confidence that we're going to win.
Yeah, this team can play with anybody. They can beat anybody. And defense, I've said this multiple times, defense is a great equalizer. And that's what this team does. They play really good defense.
And this is all in that stretch without Jazz Kuntz either. So that makes me feel good. Like when we're losing a game at Oklahoma State, but we have one less role player that can jump in. When we're winning without him, it kind of is discouraging because it's like, okay, so are we that much better without him, or are we just clicking right now?
But, yeah, and I think getting him back will take away some of Robert Jones' playing time. Because right now, Robert Jones, I mean, they call him Big Rob Energy, but man, he's a liability of some possessions out there, dude.
Yeah.
Like, he really is.
You're sounding pretty sad there about he might lose some playing time, and my camera was off, but I was kind of grinning from ear to ear. I was okay with that.
Yeah, but yeah, you see where I went there. Like, you get the ball in his hands, and you're like, oh God, what is going to happen? Or like, his guy gets the ball at the top of the 3-point line, and he runs out there on a 4.240 pace, and the dude runs right past him. Like, he is Big Rob Energy. He needs to take it down like from here, maybe like one notch.
But without characters like that, we're truly not the team that we are. So it's like you got to take the good with the bad. Now, they wore these uniforms on Tuesday, and these have started to go around in college basketball. I wanted to get your guys' opinion. I absolutely love, instead of like having Iowa State across, they have the logo across the middle there. I absolutely love those uniforms. Actually, I'll just full screen it so you can see a little bit better. And then actually on the waistband there, they got Hilton Coliseum on there. It says Hilton Magic right above your dink. I don't know. What do you guys like those logo uniforms, or is it just me?
I don't like these. I love the colors. I love the color scheme. Do not like the I-State on the chest.
Really?
I like it, Bryant. It looks freaking sweet.
Looks like a practice jersey.
I can see. Damn it! Now that you say that, I can definitely see where you're seeing the practice jersey. But like now, that's just Iowa State's. I tried to find a couple because I personally love these. Like I said. But I love Memphis's. They had the black alternates here. I'll full screen again so you can see a little bit better. But like they had these black alternates like with the actual like colored in logo for Memphis. Arkansas and Miami have those. I mean, there's been several other schools that have done it. Those are just the best examples I could see. I'm surprised you don't like them, Trent, to be honest.
What do you think, Joe? You got Miami one up there.
I love them. Yeah, go you, baby. I really, really like the Iowa State ones. The only things I would change, if you made them the black alternates and then did like a yellow trim and then had a tiger hawk in the middle, then they'd be awesome. So that's what I think would be cool.
I don't know. We'd have to ask for permission.
I had you for a second. I fucking had you for a second, Brian. That was close, man.
Once you said, I love them, especially if you go black. I'm like, you would never give Iowa State permission to wear black uniforms. But no, actually, Iowa's I think would be legit. Just the one color with the one color logo on it. Like Arkansas, of all those, I think looks the best. You have the red uniform with the white Razorback on it.
Yep. I do have a question because I think for the Iowa ones of those, I think the old school fighting Herky would be the coolest. Do you guys have a different logo that you think would be better than the I-State, Trent, or something else? Or do you just not like it because it's a logo and it looks like a practice jersey?
I don't know. Maybe if I saw it with like the walking Cy on it, that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah. I think walking Cy would make it a little better, but I also kind of just like him in general. So, but excuse me, just because we're going to be talking about Kansas as well here. For the upcoming schedule, we're playing. It's the Big 12 SEC Challenge this weekend, so I'm going to put the whole schedule up on the screen here. We're playing at Missouri on Saturday, 1:00 on ESPNU. Here's the rest of the conference here. Kansas at Kentucky is probably going to be one of the better games. Actually, Texas at Tennessee will probably be pretty damn good too. But yeah, God, I was trying to look at the top of the Big 12. Kansas State, but Florida at Kansas State. That, I don't know, give or take. I don't know. Any of them there sticking out to you other than our own teams?
The Florida Kansas State game is the reunion for dude from Kansas State. Cannot remember his name right now. He was the one that had like the 6 dreads. God, why can't I think of his name? Anyway, he was the one that played at Florida that like during the height of COVID, like collapsed on the floor. Remember that? And yeah, and they thought like his basketball career was over. Well, he's at Kansas State now. Oh, shit. Let me look it up.
Yeah,
and you could ask me to name
Javon Johnson.
Maybe.
Okay.
You could ask me to name a single Kansas State player, or you're going to shoot me, and I would just pull the trigger for you because I could never, ever. I don't know any Kansas State basketball players in my life.
Michael Beasley.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Joey.
Oh, God damn it!
Michael.
For some reason, I always get him and Blake Griffin mixed up because they were both Big 12. But God damn it, that's
Blake
right.
Griffin's Oklahoma.
I would, if you asked me any other Kansas State player's name, I would just say Deuce Vaughn, and then see if they pull the trigger on me.
Yep.
Just pull the trigger for him.
Sorry, not Javon Johnson. Keontae Johnson.
Keontae, okay.
Yeah, he played for Florida and collapsed on the floor during a game.
Damn, I did not know that. Well, that should be pretty, I don't know, cool reunion. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Good on him for being able to continue his basketball career.
Yep.
But I would say we got a bit of a tough stretch. I would say Missouri's no slouch, but we're going to play them on Saturday again, 1:00 on ESPN2. So we're finally getting onto cable network here, where we don't have to stream these games. And then we're playing at this one scares me. Texas Tech is at the bottom of the Big 12, and they've played for a national championship within the last couple of years. So that terrifies me. I think they're slowly going to start coming back. Hell, we might even lose in Lubbock. They're just, I think they're just a sleeping giant right now. But we play them on the 30th at 8 p.m.
I could see that.
So I don't know. If we go 1-1 in this stretch, I'll be just fine. And say, because like I said, Missouri's no slouch. We're going to compete in every game, but I think Texas Tech is going to be one of those games where we're on the road. We were only on a couple days rest. I mean, it feels like a trap game right now.
So since we're playing Mizzou on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Why can we not play for the telephone trophy?
Yeah, what the fuck? I didn't even think about that, but I agree. Break that whole thing out. Wipe the dust off. We could revamp it. We could play for the cell phone trophy.
Make it new.
the new cell phone trophy is like one of those old IKEA brick phone or Nokia brick phones.
Yeah,
I think that'd be pretty sweet.
Hell yeah, that thing would weigh 1,000 pounds and be indestructible. Speaking
of playing Missouri, look at how awful those uniforms are. This is knockoff Michigan shit. Joey, you're a Missouri resident. You're the closest to them. Can you go down to the university and ask them what the fuck they were thinking with these?
It's their throwback ones. That's what they wore in the 90s.
They should have left him in the 90s. Oh, there we go. Let's full screen that thing. Let's take a look at that butte. Better not have any private messages on that right that are showing. Oh God, that's
just you guys.
Just us.
Just you guys. Yep.
I'll be honest. What a dumb looking trophy that is.
Best trophy in college football.
Okay, yeah. who has it now?
Mizzou.
Oh, it just stayed. So they won the last game. They just keep it forever.
I guess, I don't know. Maybe they don't have it.
This is why we should just get rid of playing Iowa so we can get back the telephone trophy.
Yeah, we're going to suspend the series starting immediately.
I'm gonna act like every Iowa fan and every Cyclones fan that just hates the game because Iowa State would be playing Notre Dame if they weren't playing Iowa every year. No, we wouldn't be. We'd be playing a third MAC school. But I would say we'll jump to Kansas here. Like we said, bit of a rough stretch here, Clark. 0-3 the last 3 games. They lost at home versus TCU 83-60. That legit. I don't have any stats in front of me. That's got to be one of the worst losses in Fog Allen, isn't it?
I think it's the worst one ever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a Fog Allen game unless it was like the offhand Michigan State, an elite school coming in. I don't know if I've ever seen a game in double-digit difference, let alone, 23 points.
Yeah, they got dominated. It was ridiculous. They're really going through a rough patch right here, leaving a lot to be desired out there. So, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any easier here with the SEC Challenge playing Kentucky, and then right back into it with K-State again. So, tough one, man.
No, this is a bit of a tough stretch. And when I was watching, I think it was the Baylor game. I mean, they're talking about they only go about 7 deep in their bench. So I mean, if you get into foul trouble and it feels like they're a bit raw. They aren't the finished product just yet. They're not completely polished, but boy, I'd say I hope they better get it turned around quick because not only have I never seen a loss that bag at Fog Allen, I don't know the last time I can think of that Kansas was ranked 4th in the Big 12. That wasn't like one game of the year and they happened to lose it, you know?
Yeah, not just the first game. Oh, they lost the first one, but then they roll on. Yeah, no, that doesn't happen. So they just lost 3 straight and got to right the ship. Got to do something good. Get back on the right side of things here.
Yep. Like I said earlier, dude, they'll do it too. I guarantee they might be 4th in the Big 12 right now, but when we get, let's see, what do they play? 18 games in the Big 12. I guarantee about game 16 or 17, they'll be right there. All the KU's got to do is win, and this team's got to lose, and they'll win the Big 12. It happens every year. I've seen this one before.
I'm going to say they don't.
Yeah.
They ain't winning the Big 12 this year. No. I think it's probably going to be Diet Kansas.
Oh.
Nope.
Yeah, you're not even giving your Iowa State buddies that praise how you think we might win.
It ain't going out of state. That's no. It's Diet Kansas this year.
It's going to Manhattan. So
it ain't going out of state. Wichita State's got a better chance of winning the Big 12 than Kansas State.
Wichita State sucks, dude. Don't even try.
That'd be a pretty big shocker there, Trent. You see what I did?
Woo!
Oh, here's a college basketball question.
Oh no!
Like every game that I've been watching, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this. I think they have to be wearing something under their jerseys. Like they all have like a little, like a hump, like right under the collar of their jerseys. Have you not noticed this?
I'm watching college basketball right.
Gabe Kalsher for Iowa State's wearing whatever it is.
Okay.
Is it like a vest, like a heart monitor type thing?
I don't know if it's like some kind of sensor or, like in NFL, they wear they have
like
sensors
biometric type sensors and
yeah, I don't know,
stuff.
but like, and it's not just Iowa State. Like I've noticed it on multiple different players on multiple different teams. Like, look, it's right in the middle of their back, right under their collar on their jerseys. It's like a little hump.
I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, Gabe Kalsher for Iowa State. Would you watch the game Saturday?
I'm kind of laughing just because you guys remember during COVID, we were all scared for our lives. We don't know what's going to happen. We're trying to make football happen, and then the doctors go, "Hey, we have this bracelet or ring that keeps track of your heart monitor." And it's like for these NFL players to make them safe and all. It's like, why don't you make this for everyone? for the NFL, they have this biometric like band that can tell them everything about the player to keep them safe. And general public, you just stay in your apartments. We got to get these boys out at these football fields and playing.
Okay, speaking of, what are the NFL players wearing on their neck? Have you noticed that?
God, yes,
a lot of them are wearing it.
It's a tight end, and I just saw a picture of it. It is to monitor I think it's to monitor, and it also, I believe, somehow helps with concussions because it helps with the blood flow to your brain.
Yep, it keeps all the blood in the top of your head. PMT had a segment on this, but they were comparing it to a male sex toy that is used.
So it's like
Are you talking about a
tourniquet?
CPR?
Like a tourniquet, they put them like on an inversion table, get all the blood rush to their head, and then snap that thing on there.
Basically,
Q collar.
Yeah. What's it called?
It's called a Q collar. The device is intended to protect athletes' brains during head impacts. The FDA authorized the marketing of the Q collar, saying they may reduce the occurrence of specific changes in the brain that are associated with brain injuries. So, there we go.
All right.
Nice.
Now we've learned something. Audience, you're welcome. Only facts on this show.
Damn right.
So, and maybe next week we'll figure out what the basketball players are wearing under their jerseys.
Yeah, we'll do some more research on that on the fly. I don't want in my search history what's underneath basketball players' clothes. I just don't want that in my Google history.
I just did that and it didn't come up with anything. So
really,
yeah. I did say jersey. So
well, mine when I clicked the link, it asked if I was over 18. So I don't know what that's about.
I mean, wait. Were you using Google or Pornhub as a search engine? Because we've talked about this before.
The hub.
Okay.
Bryant was using the dark web.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh shit! I was about to actually, before we go into the wrestling meet, one goofy thing. I think I have the video here. Did you guys see that Uber Eats strike? It has to be a bit, but there's no way.
I'm watching it right now
because the dude had he was wearing a microphone.
Oh, it was that obvious.
Yeah,
I didn't see that. I would say I did watch the video of it. It seriously looked like the stupidest thing. I mean, I was flabbergasted, and then I kind of put together. I'm like, there's no way he's that obvious. Damn it! Now he's got a mic. Now he's just some lame YouTuber making content. All these fucking content creators out here.
Yeah.
Joey, drive to State College this weekend and do that tomorrow at the Penn State meet.
I've got enough Clark to do this in Allen Fieldhouse.
What time is the Chiefs game Sunday, by the way? They're the early game, right?
No,
they're the late game.
The early game's at 3:30, right?
2:30.
Okay, I got to drive to Oklahoma City, so I need to make sure I'm there in time. That's all I needed.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were checking to see what time you needed to be on the field with your DoorDash bag.
Well, they could do that too.
Hey, at Hockey League, I got your McDonald's.
Hey, Jackson Mahomes, get your Big Mac. You could just say you're there for Jackson Mahomes, and every Bengals and every other fan in the NFL would be angry at you just because you're associated with them.
You'd have to check the receipt, make sure you're at Burrowhead.
Yeah.
Well, I make sure I have my microphone stealthily hidden under my collar. Is this Burrowhead? Yeah. Chiefs by fucking 45 this weekend. Man, I'm so excited for this game. but I'd say, well, we got one last thing, and Joey, you're going to kind of have to lead this whole thing because I haven't really kept track of college wrestling at all this year, but this is the Mecca. This is the duel of the year here.
Yep. So I know Bryant just said he's super pumped for the Chiefs game. Before we even get to Sunday, there is a massive, massive matchup in the world of NCAA wrestling. Number 1, Penn State hosts number 2, Iowa. And if you follow the sport at all, you know these two have been the last 2 national champions. They have the best teams by far going into every single postseason for the last 4 or 5 years. And it's always a rowdy, ruckus crowd following them around. So this weekend, Friday night at 8:30 Eastern time, so 7:30 Central, it'll be on Big Ten Network. The Penn State is putting 38 consecutive dual meet wins on the line versus Iowa. And funny thing is, since 2018, the 2 head coaches, Tom Brands and Cale Sanderson, only have 1 loss apiece for their dual meets. And each is to each other. So, I mean, you can just see how dominant they are over the sport for everyone else. Now, Iowa did just squeak out a win over Wisconsin. They actually tied, but had to go to criteria. And since Iowa had more takedowns, they won that tie, and that's how the world of wrestling works, guys. Sorry about that.
Hold on,
Wisconsin
real quick,
fans.
before you get too far past, because I have that stat in front of me, Joey, about how dominant. I'm sure everyone that's listening to that actually does know. But, I mean, it's literally Penn State, Iowa right behind it, and then everyone else. They're just literally on another level. But it's with those 1 losses over the past 8 seasons. Cale Sanderson, 61-1. Since 2018, Tom Brands, 35-1. I mean, that is absolutely insane how little these 2 teams lose.
And it's usually only to each other. And like I said, as far as dual meet national champions and tournament national champions, it's either one of these 2 teams. So we'll see how March shakes out. But for this meet itself, there's a lot of ranked matchups. You've got one at 133 with either Brody Teske or Colin Shriver with RBY. I won't read them all, but your big matchups are going to be number 2 Real Woods versus number 4 Bo Bartlett at 141. And then in your heavier weights, especially at 285, you have number 3 Tony Cassiope versus number 2 Greg Kirkfleet, which is a rematch for going on multiple years now. So those will be pretty contested matches. It's going to be a ruckus time. Spencer Lee is riding a 48-match win streak, and there's word on the street. And I think in order for Iowa to win this, they need to score as many points early and often as possible. And there's word on the street that maybe Spencer Lee jumps up and takes on RBY in the number 1 versus number 1 champ versus champ match, which would be fucking amazing. So really kind of hope that does happen.
What would you say if you were to bet, like, odds on that? Like 40, 60?
Yeah, it seems like it's gaining steam. People are asking RBY about it. I mean, I think it's probably more 60-40 that it does happen. I don't think it's a huge chance, but I don't know. This meet is always the biggest thing in the sport, and Spencer Lee never backs down from a challenge. It's going to be up to Tom Brands what he wants to do. I think that gives Iowa the best chance to win because, yeah, they may score 6 points in the first match, but you could also negate 3 other points coming into that second match by RBY. It could be even higher than that. I have a match breakdown, and I have RBY scoring 5 points. I think he tech falls whoever goes out of the match against him, and I would not be surprised if he pins them either. So I think that scoring-wise, it would be cool to see him jump up, and it also give Iowa a really good chance.
Would that 8-pound jump not to, like, I guarantee Spencer Lee adding 8 pounds is going to affect him. If anything, it probably makes him a little stronger because he's not, cutting the weight at that point. Would that affect him getting to I don't know when Iowa wrestles next, but I know when I was in high school, there was a limited amount of time you had to cut down weight. Do they have that at college?
Yeah, and you have to weigh in within a certain window. So it's not even so much this. If he, for some reason, if they did bump him up, he'd still weigh in at 125. I don't think he's going to put on 8 pounds. And he normally wrestles at that 25 kilogram, or wait, yeah, something like that. weight class for Olympics, and they both wrestle that same weight class. So it's not like he'd be wrestling someone 2-3 weight classes heavier than him. It's only 8 pounds, and they wrestle the same size guys for Olympic type style wrestling. So I don't think it'd be a big jump or a big deal for either one of them if that did happen as far as weight goes. And Spencer's on the short but stocky side anyway for his weight class. So it'd be a lot like Nathan Tomasello when he used to wrestle for Ohio State, just really short and stocky. I think it'd look a lot like that if he went up a weight class real quick.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But I know not a lot of people watch wrestling, so I'll just give my real basic prediction. I think if it plays out with the lineups that we have on the screen or had on the screen, I think Penn State wins 6 of those matches. Iowa wins 4. Like I said, it's going to take Iowa winning early, especially in the meet, and getting bonus points. So I think they need bonus points at 25, 141, and 149 to even have a chance. And that is if Tony Cassiope wins at the end. So final score, I've got it 17-25. Penn State takes it. And I think it's just going to be a hell of a matchup regardless of what the outcomes are, especially the 149 through 165 matches could go either way. I mean, there's not a whole lot of difference in the rankings, and if there are, the people that are ranked higher, 4 or 5 spots. So it should be good.
It's crazy that 8 out of 10 matches are top 15 matchups.
Yep,
is what I know.
That's what you get in this, and it could be even more if like that Levi Haynes at 157. He's supposed to be ranked this week, so he could be another top 15 matchup. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, best of luck to Iowa in that one, dude. Because I'm saying, I got no dog in the fight, but Kale left Iowa State, so whatever. Right. Go Iowa. I mean, I got no dog in the fight. So
yeah, and I mean, just a couple more things on NCAA wrestling. Iowa State's up to 3 in both polls. I mean, they're kicking ass right now. I think, to be honest with you, I think the Big Ten might double up every other conference as far as every weight class goes for allocations, which will be a first time. They normally have the majority of the allocations, but man, there's a lot of dominant wrestlers in the Big Ten in every single school this year. So I'm looking forward to March for damn sure.
Has the transfer portal, I don't know if you've kept track of it, has that really affected a lot of these guys, or like even just the Big Ten, like, okay, I can't wrestle at Ohio State, I'm going to go to Northwestern and start immediately and kind of keep the talent in or something?
Not so much. How can I put this? Wrestling has always kind of had the transfer portal because of Olympic wrestling and then the RTCs and stuff, and people can gray shirt and go wrestle at other camps and things like that. And then if they, up until the last couple of years, if they sat out, then they could do whatever the hell they wanted. And it was kind of easier for wrestlers to kind of float around and move school to school. But yeah, it hasn't affected them as much as it has, other major sports, but it's just kind of always been there and always kind of been part of the culture to move around for schools and shit. Like Brody Teskey's on his 3rd school now, and he's still got 2 years of eligibility left. And that happens all the time because of Olympic red shirts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where'd he go first? No, he went to Northern Iowa and then
he went to Penn State right out of high school.
That's right. Penn State, then Northern Iowa, then Iowa. I didn't know he was with Iowa.
Yep.
Is that new this year?
Yep, sure is.
Okay. Because I knew he came back to Iowa, just to Northern Iowa.
Yep. Him and Drew Bennett are both on Iowa this year.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Nice. But yeah, that's NCAA wrestling news. I know I promised a Combat Sports podcast, but had a few things to take care of last week. So we'll do another one before the next big UFC, and then also definitely before wrestling season's over. I want to get on at least do a mid-season recap and go from there.
Hell yeah. Well, other than that, I mean, anyone else got anything they want to bring up, or should we put a bow on it?
Got nothing. Just need to figure out what them basketball players are wearing on their jerseys.
Better not be that damn logo jersey, huh?
Yeah, underneath their practice jersey.
Right. I do want to leave you with a stat. Caitlin Clark earlier this week led Iowa to an upset over number 2 and undefeated Ohio State. Caitlin Clark joined Dwayne Wade as the only players in Division I NCAA history with a triple-double versus an AP top opponent since 1999-2000.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
She had some stat as well. It was like she's recorded her 33rd triple-double or something, right?
Yep.
And second place was the phenom from like 2 years ago from Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, yeah, but she had 17 and Caitlin Clark has 33. She is just as close to one triple-double as she is to Caitlin Clark. So,
right.
No, I've been starting to see more women's basketball on TV. A lot of it is Iowa because it's just, they're going to show the Lady Volunteers, Caitlin Clark, the UConn. They're going to show those dominant teams, and she's making a name for herself, dude.
Yep. And watch out for this team come March. They're getting a couple of healthy girls back, so yeah, we'll see. I know I wrote kind of a shitty thing in the Uncle Joe's Thoughts back in December when I gifted her a longer trench coat for the coattails so that everyone else could jump on them. But yeah, that team seems to be jumping around her, so good luck to them the rest of the way.
Absolutely. Well, Joe, you want to hit them with the socials quick?
Yep. At Heartland Pulse for Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. Search us Pulse of the Heartland on Facebook and YouTube. Join us live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You can also hit up our partners on Twitter at In the Zone Media 1 for In the Zone, and then inthezone.studio.
Oh, yeah. Like we said, make sure you get sharing and telling all your friends to listen. I'm not going to repeat what I'll call you, but just make sure you get it shared. So, all right, guys. Well, we do appreciate you listening. We'll catch you next week.
Nice.
Peace.